Shall we start?
Sir,
Yes, ma'am. Hello, madam. Shall we start?
sir, we will start within a minute, sir.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay, we are going for the online streaming. So we will wait for 1 hour, 1 minute, and we will start.
Okay.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes. सर मी आता सुरू करूयात का आपण मी इंट्रोडक्शन करते आणि सुरू करूयात आपण. Good afternoon, all. Welcome to Kirloskar Vasundhara Festival Orientation Program. I will introduce Mr. Viren Chitrao, Festival Director of Kirloskar Vasundhara International Film Festival first, and then we will start with the orientation. Virendra Chitrao is working as Festival Director of Kirloskar Vasundhara International Film Festival, Kirloskar Vasundhara Eco Rangers, and Ramnadi Restoration Mission, along with Asian Film Festival, Global Pulotsav, which is the complete art festival of India, Yuvon Mesh, Utsav 85, which are globally acclaimed for last 15 years. He was a partner in The Grid, the architectural and interior designing firm, for more than 10 years. He started first local video news channel, Pune Varta, in 1989. This attempt was first of its kind in India. He was appointed as member of the Film Advisory Board, Government of Maharashtra, and then Government of India's Central Board of Film Certification, popularly known as Censor Board. He is actively involved in Federation of Film Societies of India, FFSI. This movement was founded by veteran film director Satyajit Ray 15 years back. Mr. Chitra was executive president of FFSI Maharashtra chapter and presently regional council member of FFSI Western region. He is the secretary of Ashay Film Sanskritik Club and trustee of Dama Mirazdar Pratishthan. He is writer, critic, and well-known speaker too. Mr. Virendra Chitrao has done pioneering work in the field of film, drama, music, literature, other fine visual art forms, and environmental protection. He has been active in the field of organization for the last 14 plus years. Till today, he has organized more than 400 festivals, which have been acclaimed nationally and internationally. So, thank you, and over to you, Chitrao sir.
Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to thanks actually all of my friends here, professor, other staff, principal, and society management committee. Actually, it is my great pleasure that to introduce Kirloskar Vasundhara in this session. So let us start with the things because Vinod Bodhankarji will be the key speaker of today, and he will go through the Ram Nadi Restoration Mission, which is our flagship activity as far as Kirloskar Vasundhara is concerned. But 15 years before, we started with Kirloskar Vasundhara International Film Festival, which was totally new idea as far as environmental protection festivals are concerned. Actually, when we started this festival, the new word to the world was global warming, and most of the Indian expert, renowned expert, mentioning that global warming is not our problem. Actually, it's the problem for Europe, America, etc., etc. But during last 15 years, especially the young generation has witnessed the changes, climatic changes, as well as environmental issues during last 15 years. And unfortunately, we can mention that this problem is at our doorstep. And even the KG student can talk about the global warming thing. But during recently, we had a 15 Kirloskar Vasundhara festival in the month of December, and that time the global problem was the COVID-19. So during these 15 years, the climate had changed, the world had changed, the patterns have already changed. So I think that we can mention that uh, environmental protection is the need of the hour, and 21st century will be the environmental protection activity, action oriented program century. So we organized the festival 15 years back because we feel that it is necessary to go for the environmental protection thing. So during last 15 years, KVIFF has become the platform for collegians, school children, government officials, a number of organizations, even corporate professionals, bureaucrats. So, number of stakeholders are on this platform, and all of them are working for the environmental protection mission. Actually, the festival, when it was offline, it was traveling to more than 20 cities from 7 states. And now, at present, in all these cities, the platform on this platform, number of eminent personalities are here on the platform, and they are tackling with the problems and new vision activities of that city. So we are happy that at least some awareness has created, and I can proudly say that beyond awareness, number of action-oriented programs were already taken at each and every city. So you on the screen you are witnessing opening ceremony of the festival, where the Kalyan Verma, the a very eminent photographer from Bengaluru, and he's also a filmmaker also. So he's inaugurating the festival, and you can witness the full house audience at Balgandhara Rangamandi. So photography exhibition is the activity for the Kirloskar Vasundhara Festival, where thousands of photographs from all over the world we receive every year, and we select the photographs and we create a mobile exhibition of out of these photographs. So photography exhibition is the thing. Besides morning walks are also, you can witness the photo walk here, some trekking activity, then cleaning drives by school children, then visit to a center where the garbage has been crushed, and new creation is there. So like that, number of innovative activities we always carried out. Film workshop is also, you can witness the Kalyan Verma and Krishnendu Bose here. Like these, the number of eminent filmmakers always came Pune for the festival, and with the help of number of filmmaking institutes, we organized the filmmaking workshop for the students. A number of conferences. Actually, conferences is the key activity as far as festival is concerned. So you are on the screen witnessing eminent personalities, even for Marathi students. We organize Paryavaran Snehi Sahitya Sammelan every year at SP College, where eminent writer, critic, poet, authors from environmental sections are participating, and we this activity was very popular all over the Maharashtra itself. Then these innovative activities, in first photographs you are witnessing a waste festival, the waste material rally. You are witnessing the placards and some innovative creations by students in this rally. Then at second photograph you are witnessing a green band, and that green band was very popular because it's a students activity, and the drums and boxes and empty bottles were used as an instruments for the orchestra. Then again in third photograph, the eco-friendly fashion show, that was also a well appreciated activity as far as students are concerned. Then number of colleges activity during the festival, there are cleaning drives at the college, environmental and wildlife films we always screen. Then interaction in photograph number 2, you will see the RJ Bandya, his name was, and he is interacting with students. So like that, a number of college activities, and this is the Green College Clean College competition, which was uh, pride distribution ceremony at Balgandharva. So, like that, there are so many activities we always carried out during the festival. But uh, during the festival, when I traveled number of cities for the inauguration or various programs, when we organize a press conference, the press community always asks me that what you are doing besides organizing the festival. They are insisting that for say 3 4 days you organize the festival at our city, but what next during say 360 days in a year other than your festival, what you are doing for the city. So Kirloskar thought that let us have the new activity, and we started Kirloskar Vasundhara Eco Ranger. I think that all of the students over here are part of Eco Rangers. They are Eco Rangers, and some of the new students will join this Eco Ranger movement for this year. So we started with Kirloskar Vasundhara Eco Rangers, and actually, as I mentioned, that we believe that 21st century will be the century of environment, and at present we are facing number of environmental problems, but we are sure that the next generation, which is at school and colleges, they will face all these issues, environmental issues, throughout their lives. So what we thought that it is necessary to create awareness and if possible action during this section, so that they will face these issues and create a environmental active society in future. So and second point of this century, we believe that audiovisual literacy is very important, and this will be the tool to face environmental issues. That's why we started Kirloskar Vasundhara Eco Ranger in a friendly manner. So, and we got good success. Actually, what is Kirloskar Vasundhara Eco Rangers? It's a group of collegians, and we are very thankful to college management, principal, and teacher, staff, and of course the enthusiastic student community from all the colleges. At present, at Pune, around 33 colleges are associated with this Eco Rangers. And this year, because last 2 years we could not organize the activities offline, but from this year, I'm sure that we will go offline, and around 15 colleges we are going to increase at our umbrella. So, actually, the aim is to create awareness related to energy, wildlife, air, water, and environment also among the students. When we started this activity, you are witnessing four photographs. First was Mr. Erich Bharucha and Bittu Saigal are inaugurating this activity. At that time, there was full house, 100% youngster collegians attended that ceremony. Then we usually organize the orientation course, training programs for the collegians and eco rangers like you. Then conferences, Green College, Clean College is our flagship activity, and every year college students present their ideas, their concepts, action taken at the college campuses, and it has become a very popular activity as far as college managements are concerned. And every year, number of new colleges participate in this activity, Green College, Clean College, and we honor them. And last year, from last year, we have started implementing their good ideas. The floating bed was one of the idea, and which was implicated at Ramnadi. So, like that, training program are there, audiovisual lectures we organize, teachers and training program. This year, possibly, we will organize offline also. So, like that, there are number of um, innovative ideas, and college students have picked up this idea and organize hundreds of activities. Some of the sample activities are in front of you on screen. So one college, AISSMS, organized no vehicle day, and which was very popular. Then another college, waste collection drive on regular basis. Some colleges adopted the hills and native tree plantation, and of course the number of conferences like PVG organized the green technology in construction, like these number of conferences which are very important as far as the college topics are concerned. So all these activities we organize, and you have already seen these photographs. So these four activities. Then street play. Street play is very important and very powerful weapon as far as youngsters are concerned. So we We design, we develop, we present street play on various topics which are very near and dear to young generation. And film workshop is also one of the topic. So, like that, we will organize so many activities this year for PVG students and eco rangers. And on screen, you are watching four photographs in which actually from this year also we will go with the principals and teacher conference, then train the trainer in a big way, audiovisual lectures, and of course, filmmaking workshops were organized every year. So, like that, when we started with Green College, Clean College competition, as I explained earlier, it's a participatory movement of college administration, staff, students, and of course, the number of professors, knowledgeable and very cooperative professors to this movement. And now this activity is very popular at Pune, and besides Pune, we organize this activity at Kolhapur, then Solapur, then in Karnataka, Hampi, and Nashik also. So, from every college, we invite 21 eco rangers, and in that number, 10 boys, 10 girls, and one teacher representative is always there. And the very innovative idea we coined 3 years back, that was Ram Nadi Restoration Mission, and students, especially youngsters, are very happy to actively participate in this mission because Ram Nadi is a very neglected river, which I think that Vinod Bodhankar ji will explain you about that river and river, its ecosystem, and which is in a very pathetic condition. So, in a big way, we are expecting this year offline participation of students for Ram Nadi Restoration Mission. Like that, we will organize GCCC offline also. So, this year's calendar will be full of activities. And as far as Green College, Clean College is concerned, you are watching on a screen jury panelist examining the presentation created by student. Then the jury panel physically visits each and every college in presence of their principal. Uh, uh, then interaction always happens. Our jury panel actually visits the changes and initiative which students have presented in their film. So they appreciate the things as far as college management and students have taken. Then award ceremony, it's a very high point of this competition, and at all 5 cities the award ceremony is taking place every year. So like that, number of activities we organize, and I request PVG college staff members and principal to participate in a big way because this year we might increase the number from 21 to 30, so that a large number of students will be participated in this mission. So I am again thankful to you all for this overwhelming response of today's session, and I think that I would like to over to Vinod Bodhankar ji, and I think that before Vinod ji starts his presentation, there will be his introductory session. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. So, I'm told as I will introduce Vinod Bodhankar sir. Vinod Bodhankar sir is joint founder director of Sagar Mitra Abhiyan project in 6 villages, 6 cities, 3 countries. A decentralized community-driven waste plastic governance project where 250,000 high school students are involved. This is under NGO, which is the Academic Advisors. Bodhankar sir is convener of IPRBC, India Peninsular River Basin Council, Jala Biradari. He is also joint coordinator of Aao Nadi Ko Jane, Know Our River. Aao Nadi Ko Jane is national webinar series with more than 200 webinars from January 2020 to March 2022 to form district level water mentor permanent conference series and to form river basin level water mentor permanent conference series. Sir is Jalanayak Water Literacy Center, Yashada, Maharashtra State's Yashwantrao Academy of Development Administration. He is also visiting lecturer at Yashada since 2008. Sir is founder member of Ram Nadi Restoration Mission Pune, which is 17-kilometer long river along with 13 NGOs, 35 colleges, 12 schools, 5 industry, CSR partners from 2018 onwards. He is also awarded Jalarishi Sanman 2017 at National Convention Drought Free India, Bijapur, Karnataka by Dr. Rajendra Singh and Karnataka CM Siddharamaiah. So, thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I will start directly. I hope you can hear me. Can you confirm that?
Yes, sir.
Just checking if my PowerPoint is seen. Hello.
Sir, not yet.
My sharing window is has to be activated, I think. By you.
Okay. Sir.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. I think the sharing window is deactivated. Can you just activate it? It says you must grant permission in order for me to screen share. झालंय ना एक मिनिट Why is it not showing?
One minute, sir.
Please. Yes, actually we tested just before.
Yes, sir. Actually, we stated.
Yeah. For some reason it is not coming on. And when I try to share the
Sir, will you please reconnect so that you can share the screen? Sir, it is visible now. Sir, you are mute.
Okay. Hello. I think you can hear me now, but
Yes.
yeah, let us try again.
Just now your screen is visible. Now it is again invisible.
Yeah, I'm just trying that because technically I do not know what is happening because I put myself on just now. Yeah, can you see it now?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we start. Thank you so much. First of all, Virendra ji, thank you so much for calling me to do this. I'm always honored when Kirloskar, which is a group which we know is an engineering group, and to represent an activity of an engineering group with an engineering college is a special privilege. So just before I go into Ram Nadi restoration, I want to speak to all the up and coming engineers here in the presence of your gurus. All your teachers are here. Let me imagine for a moment I am a junior engineer like you undergoing a training. And I know and you know that engineering started with civil engineering. And I think what Virendra Chitrauji was trying to place before us is it is not enough for us to remain as civil engineers. We have to now change into civilizational engineering also. So we will have to look at not only the bricks with which we build a bridge or a building, but we have to look at every human being as a brick within civilization. And inside ourselves, we have to engineer our own nature to become more sensitive to all that is around us, which we call as nature. To simplify this, we decide to look at a river as a representative of nature. We are looking at Ram Nadi now. As an engineer, if I travel with you to Agra and see the Taj Mahal, I know that a tourist will only look at the beauty of the Taj Mahal. But an engineer will try to see how is it that it has lasted for such a long time. So you will think about the architect also. Now, I think through our Ram Nadi restoration mission, we are saying to you, while you build your buildings, please take a look at the universal architect. We call universal architect as God or the life force which runs nature. And please take a look at the river. And the river is more long-lasting and more beautiful than a Taj Mahal. We want you to visit the river to absorb the beauty of the universal architect. God has created this river for us. So the way when you look at a building, you will try to see how the building that you are going to build will be very strong. When you look at the river, when you come with us to the river, please take a look at the complex system that the river is. And we will try to place it before you as an orientation right now. As an engineer and as an architect, try to look at the river and its components as a building, something which has been built as a complex system by God, by the life force of nature, and then why it is going wrong and where we have to provide the strength as engineers. Some of the slides I will skip. In this, you can see a number of logos below. I'm not going to go into the detail. There are many, many partners in Ram Nadi restoration. This is a Kirloskar Vasundhara initiative. And our Pune Vidyarthi Graha is also now a partner with us, is what we assume. Please remember, while what is shown to you is a picture of Ram Nadi, the outcome of this talk has to be and will be that you will visit this river and see it personally. I think I'm going to repeat this. The single and very simple outcome of this talk has to be that you visit the river and see for yourself. What you will see over there, an orientation we will try to give you. The picture you see is Ram Nadi going through an urban area. It's 18 kilometers long. Sometimes it is said that she's 17 kilometers long. 17, 18 kilometers long. I'm not going to go into the detail. You can see the Ram Nadi basin picture. On the right bottom corner, you see the Mula Mutha basin, in which the shaded area is the Ram Nadi. The Ram Nadi is a tributary of the Mula river. This is Pune district diagram, and what you see is nearly eight major dams are there and several minor dams. And the Mula Mutha river, it carries the water of the Ram Nadi. Ram Nadi goes into Mula, Mula goes into Mula Mutha, and Mula Mutha joins the Bhima eventually. If you can see the map in detail, you can see thousands of streams which create this watershed. Every drop of water, the attempt is to catch it and take it to the river. Nature has created this beautiful system. Look at it as built by an architect, because you are engineers. This is another drawing of the Krishna River Basin. And in the Krishna River Basin, if you can see the arrow, you can see where Bhima is written. The Bhima River comes from Pune, and the Mula River is a tributary of the Bhima, and the Ram Nadi is a tributary of the Mula River. On top, you can see in yellow Ram Nadi going into Mula River, going into Bhima River, and finally into the Krishna River. And as you know, the Krishna River goes into the Bay of Bengal. There are two types of rivers in India when you come to peninsular part of India. Those rivers which go into the Bay of Bengal and those rivers which go into the Arabian Sea, east and west flowing rivers. Because we are part of the Krishna basin, all the waters of the Ram Nadi are going towards the Bay of Bengal. We will not go into details here. As you visit the river and interact with us, each of these slides and the contents of that are going to be given to you in detail while we are traveling along the river also. Today, we just give you an orientation. It's a short 18-kilometer tributary of the Mula River, and it originates southeast of Pune city and flows northwest towards the Mula River. At the top near the origin, there is a Khattewadi lake, a small lake. Below that, the Manas lake, and below that, there is a Pashan lake. So there are 3 lakes within our river system. The population is 3.5 lakh inhabitants in Ram Nadi basin. I think there should be another census so that we get to know exactly how many people live, and we should create a demographic profile of all the people who are there. Half of these are rural inhabitants, and half of these are in the urban area, which we call as Pune Municipal Corporation. So 3 Gram Panchayats and 1 municipal corporation. As we try to serve the river and bring her out of the pollution and the encroachment and the exploitation of the river that we have created, we will have to interact with the Gram Panchayats and our municipal corporation and all the layers of governance which are there from the top down, and all the human beings who live in that Ram Nadi basin. Because after all, Ram Nadi is a mother. And if 3.5 lakh of us are children of Ram Nadi, then when she is not feeling well, all of us should rush to her because she is as good as in hospital. So how do we look at the river? What is the body of the river? What is this architecture of the river? There is a source region. There is a plains region. I think the labeling is very clear. I'm thankful to so many of my colleagues who have, we have mixed up the slides coming from the different sources. Source region is there, which is in the mountains. As the river evens out in the plains, that is the second part of the river, and the river joins either the ocean, like the Krishna River joins, or the river joins the larger river. In the case of Ram Nadi, it is the Mula River. So the area of the source is called catchment because that is where the mountains and the dish-like region, it catches the rain. All the catchments, all the small valley regions where the rain falls, the valley slopes towards a single valley. All these catchments together form a watershed. On either side of the river, it is not that only from the beginning of the origin that the water comes. From the side of the river also, there are nalas coming in. From the side also, there are heights. There is a slope which comes to the river. That ridgeline which surrounds the entire mainstream of the river is called as the river basin. It is the entire hollow through which the river flows. So this is on the right side, the smaller diagram will show you the basin. And not only from the origin, but from all the sides also, there is a precipitation. The water is caught hold of in all the aligning ridges, and water flows into the river from the top of the mountain and from the side mountains also. So this is a river basin. This is a pictorial representation of 3 river basins. And this shows a physical drawing of one particular river basin. Okay. Many such small basins will make up the catchment area of the Ram Nadi. So there are components here, as we said, upland areas, wetlands and aquifers. The wetland is on either side of the river. Whenever there is a shallow land, you will find that water stands over there for a few seasons. And that is a very essential part of the ecology of the river. The details of why it is a part of the architecture, that we are going to go into that when you come to the river. Today is our time only to orient you. Okay. So there are aquifers under the river. On both sides, wherever the rainfall falls on the mountains, the water goes down into the ground. It gets stored under the ground. Where it gets stored under the ground is the aquifer. And subsurface flows of this aquifer come towards the river. When the aquifer discharges into the river, we find that the water becomes visible. We call that as a spring. It is the subsurface water coming as a spring into the river. So there are streams which come on the surface and there are subsurface springs which come into the river. Of course, because of all the greenery which comes up because of this water, there will be a very wide variety of flora, and there is a very wide variety of fauna. That is the vegetation and the animals, the birds, the insects, all the living creatures which nature as the architect has also created as part and parcel of the river, and they have a functionality in the river also. All of this flora and fauna are part of the complex river basin ecology. The riparian system is along the banks of the river, whatever is the greenery which is there and whatever is the life which is there. So the life system which accompanies the river along the banks is a very, very rich riparian system, and which we destroy very easily when urban civilization happens around the river. And of course, there is a soil which the river breaks away. It erodes the soil from the mountain and brings it towards the plains. And on either the right bank or the left bank, every year it is part of the function of the Ram Nadi to deposit the soil, because the soil comes with nutrients. So while the components of Ram Nadi ecosystem show the physical anatomy of the river, the architecture of the river, there are processes which happen within the architecture of the river. Of course, is the latest fauna, the latest animal who lives around the river, and that is human beings who have come lately onto the scene on the planet Earth. So we have human communities also. Please remember, we are part of the fauna. Fauna means the animals. Human beings are animals. And we have populated the river in very dense concentrations. And we are now disturbing all the components of the Ram Nadi. There is a flooding system which spreads the fresh soil. So flooding is a function of the river. The erosion also takes away soil and minerals from the upstream, components of the vegetation from upstream, and deposits in the plain. This is also a manner in which soil is transported, nutrients are transported, nutrient cycling happens. So every time the water comes down after the monsoon, it brings in new nutrients. All this is a process of the Ram Nadi. On the left side, in the yellowish shaded list, what you find is the anatomy, and on the right side, what you find is the functionality of the river. So the river also irrigates. The river gives us a water supply. Now we come to what are the physical features of the river, biological features of the river, the hydrological features, and the human use that is there. It's a cycle. The biological features are all the organic matter, the forest cover, the food web, the migrant birds which are there. Even the human visitors have become the biological features. But we have to single out human beings separately because we have become irritants to the river also. In the physical features, we have to check what is the rainfall for our Ram Nadi, what is the temperature through the seasons across the whole year. And over a few years, we have to get this base data. We have to collect it from the past, and we have to continue monitoring the river. Just the way a doctor monitors a patient, we'll have to monitor the river. What are the contours of the river? What are the hard and soft surfaces? What is the water runoff? How much water is getting recharged? What are the discharge areas where the springs are coming up? What are the underground aquifers and the wetlands? All of these features we have to study. These details you will become acquainted with when you visit the river. Once more, I will repeat many times. The purpose of this talk is to give you only a broad overview so that you will visit the river and try to see these details in the river. When human beings came and inhabited the river, like in the Ram Nadi, then we have agriculture, horticulture, construction going on there. The roads and the channels, the sewage is being dumped, the solid waste is being thrown, the water is being lifted, the water is being stored, and so many human activities are there. When you visit the river with us, please carry your notebooks and you can write down. If there are activities which are missed over here, then you can write it down. There are cultural activities, there are temples around the river, there are heritage activities, there are so many activities. There is the development of art around the river also, which the river influences. So all of this has to be your study when you come with us to the river. So the Ram Nadi has life forms, and there is a life energy that the river brings. Remember, the water brings with it dissolved oxygen. The exact manner in which in our body or blood brings dissolved oxygen, we call it as the HB count. It should be 13 or 14. The water brings oxygen to all the life in the river basin. And the water carries the oxygen also. That oxygen is called dissolved oxygen. It is the life energy that the water brings. And that is why the life forms are created and sustained. This is how the river looks. This is the riparian region which we spoke of on both the banks, the green living region, the living ecology on both the banks. The meanders are the twisting, the river doesn't go straight like a canal. She twists and turns, and on one bank deposits the soil, and on the other bank erodes the soil. Because variation is the essence of life, and the soil must always be mixed up, taken from one place, taken to another place. The river does all this churning, and for that she meanders. More the churning, more the replacement of soil, more the displacement of soil to another place within a limit, without any human intervention. The river does her own, rejuvenation of the soil, and the bedrock which is there keeps the river going. Going along waterfalls, the river will bubble up and down and absorb the oxygen better where there is a rocky river. Please remember, as engineers, if you ever enter the river, God forbid that you have to, but if anyone assigns you the task of using a JCB in a river, never disturb the rocks over there. They are a living part of the river. Because of the rocks, very largely the water is getting oxygenated because of the ripples which are created. The pools are there, the grassy patches are there. When you visit, please note this down, carry your cameras and take down what is happening over there and how this is a living system which is being disturbed by us. The deeper pools of the river are very, very important because when the river dries up, the pool carries the gene pool. All the genes of all the creatures in the rivers are carried in the pools which remain in the summer. And when the river comes back again, the deep pool resupplies that river with life. So this is a fascinating architecture. You can say God created it, you can say that the life energy of nature created it, but it is a fascinating thing to see the anatomy and the functioning of the Ram Nadi. What happens here? I'm just going to read it. Water supply, irrigation, oxygen mixing. There is a speed control because of the right and left turning of the river. There is a nutrient cycling. There is a water recharging into the ground. There is a silt transportation to create fertile land. There is a carbon sequestration in all the greenery which is there. And there are aesthetic functions. You go to a river which is pristine and you will find that you will forget all about your stress and you will become one with the flow of the river. It will be as though she is your blood and she is running inside your river. And if anything bad happens to the river, you will find that the river flows from your eyes as tears. So there are aesthetic functions. The river calls us. The beauty of the river calls us. If you see the sunset in the river, you will get related to the river. These are her aesthetic functions and they are also her spiritual functions. She reminds us that she gives constantly river to us. Though we pollute her, she gives back the water to us. We keep polluting her and she gives back the oxygen to us. She also gives all this water to the trees which also give us oxygen. So the spirituality of the river is that of someone who gives to us and we must learn to give back. The list which is given here, 1 to 10, which I read out, is called as the ecological productivity of the river. So along with the anatomy of the river, the architecture of the river, the functionality of the river, the ecological productivity of the river is a part and parcel of human life and human civilization. Because of the ecological productivity of the river, human beings decided to live near the river, and the river became the mother of civilization. And when we crowded the river, we changed the land use, we increased the runoff, and we started putting toxic content into the water. The aquatic flora and fauna changed because for our buildings, we destroyed the forests. And now we throw plastic and debris and obstruct the flow, and we accumulate it in the soil. The construction on the banks is changing the river course which is there. There is a loss of tree cover. And the channel becomes more and more and more narrow. And when the channel becomes narrow, during the times of heavy rain, there is a flooding of the city. And the high erosion also happens when the channel becomes narrow. There is a loss of soil. The erosion becomes faster if it is narrow because through a narrow constriction, the river tries to jump at a faster speed. And then because of human beings bringing all sorts of species of plants without knowing about the actual biological architecture of the river, there are invasive species which come into the river basin. And the three ways in which we human beings have to study how we disturb the river, how we try to destroy the river is we pollute the river, we exploit the river, we take too much water from the river, we take too much sand from the river, we do sand mining in the river to such an extent that the sand mining people are called as the sand mafia. And we encroach into the river. You can see that one building is encroaching into the river and the government had to demolish one part of it over here. Okay, because it was intruding into the river bed. What are the indicators that we have degraded this? The river, we cannot drink the water. There is a reduced greenery, so carbon sequestration is less, so the amount of carbon dioxide is more, and that is one of the reasons why we have global warming. The wells are dry in that region because of over extraction, because tanker lobbies also go deep down and they empty the entire aquifer. And so there is over extraction, and so there are dry wells in the region. Dissolved oxygen is from 0 to 5 ppm. It should be 8 ppm. And there are non-native fish over here. If you see in the Mutha River, there are only 2 species of fish. There will be only 4 or 5 species of fish still left in the Ram Nadi. So some of the study which you students have to do is find out the fishermen and ask them how many fish used to be there in this river. Now how many fish are alive in this river. So there are reduced migrant birds also. There is too much water hyacinth. And so the quantitative indicators of our degraded river ecosystem because of our carelessness are here. Then we have qualitative indicators. The agricultural productivity is reduced. There is a foul smell. There are mosquitoes. There are waterborne diseases. The crop nutrition is reduced. The type of crop coming up will have less nutrition. The fruit will have less nutrition. And the river becomes repulsive. People don't want to go to the river. So earlier, the ecological productivity, the 10 points which we had said, they are all affected and their efficiency is made weak. So we are destroying the river. So how do we get the river back? So there are 3 approaches. One is called as the beautification approach. This is a very superficial approach. This is like treating only both the banks of the river and trying to plant some beautiful trees there or make 1 or 2 ghats and say, look, the river is beautiful. But the river will continue to flow as a dirty river in the middle. And so this beautification approach is like treating an ICU patient with makeup. Then there is a second technological approach. This is called end of the pipeline approach. Here we say it is as good as saying to the citizens of Pune city and the 3.5 lakh citizens of Ram Nadi, keep throwing the waste, it will come to the river and then we will clean it. Do you see? The technological approach says it is okay, first pollute it and then we'll put machines to clean it. So this is also, it will be required, but we should use this only 20%. 80% of our effort should be the ecological approach, which is what the Ram Nadi Restoration Mission believes in, the ecological approach. Here at the source means in every house we should stop the pollution. In every house we should stop the exploitation. There should be a limit on how many borewells are then in housing societies and industries in this area. So the exploitation is reduced. And we have to stop the encroachment. We have to go right down to the catchment area and the greenery and save it, because destroying the forests in the catchment area is also an encroachment on the river basin. So we have to stop the pollution, stop the exploitation, stop the encroachment, and we have to start the action education. Just 3 days ago, someone educated me on something. I'm going to share it with you immediately. Someone said, Vinod, in your house, I found that there is a toilet cleaner. I think it is called Harpic. And that gentleman, he purchased a, biodegradable, a herbal toilet cleaner and handed over the bottle to me and took away that bottle. Harpic ka bottle leke gaya. Mera education kar diya. Educated me. And now I'm using that herbal. And what I understand is 20% of the pollutants going from my house to the river has reduced just because I have replaced Harpic with a herbal product. Imagine if everyone at home does it, it is stopping pollution at home. I wanted to simplify this for you. Ecological approach means every citizen of Ram Nadi will make consumer choices also which do not pollute the river. So our ecological approach involves a behavior change in us. Be the change that you want to see. Young people, you are aware of this. Be the change that you want to see. So ecological approach, please take interest in that. The principles of ecological approach, I'm going to go rapidly through this now. So the river is a living entity. Please don't think of the river as anything less than a human being. Rather, the river is a mother to us. So if anyone throws any dirt on the river, it is like throwing some dirt on my mother's sari, and I have to immediately go and say, look, what are you doing? This is the mother of civilization. So we have to think of the aesthetic or love for the river into the ecological considerations, the health of our mother river. Who sees the beauty of mother? Mother is beautiful for everybody. She has to be functioning and she should be giving and taking care of us, which the river tries to do. But then we are putting so much of pollution in her that her function of giving to us is damaged, and so her ecological health is damaged. And because she is our mother, we must see her as a living entity, Mother Ram Nadi. And we have to consider even the rocks as a part and parcel of the shape of the river. We have to consider everything which is there, biotic or abiotic. Biotic is that which relates to living, and that which seems to be non-living. So even the rock formations, we have to be very, very careful. Between two rock formations and a pool which is formed, there can be an enormous amount of gene pool over there, which may be even 30% of the biological diversity of the river in one pool. So we have to study the biotic and abiotic aspects, because the rocks and the pools which are formed, these can be part of the essential architecture and the geoclimatic zone of that river. So please, when you come to the river, come as engineers, or engineers of the material things and the engineers of the natural system also. You must become the architects who try to understand how nature has created the architecture of the river. We must work on the entire river basin and not just the water, because all the slopes coming towards the water, they also affect the river. And we have to improve our human-river relation. So today itself you heard, we have Jeevit Nadi with us, and they tell us not to use this toxic chemicals for cleaning at home. Please, today you can immediately start serving Ram Nadi. No need to even wait till the time you come up to the Ram Nadi. Please change your toilet cleaner into something which is herbal. Virendra Chitraoji said we have to take action. And see, our river is in great danger. The action should be taken immediately by the daughters and the sons. We are the daughters and sons of this river. So let us change our behavior. Let us change urgently, but let us have a scientific basis to that. So let us come to the river. In working with the river, we have to mimic the nature and the traditional approach. And the traditional approach of all the natural forces like the river and the clouds and the trees is that they keep on giving. The tree keeps on giving us oxygen. The river keeps on giving us water. The clouds keep on giving us rain. So how should we mimic that? We should give protection to all of them. What is the function of a human being? If a river gives water, if a cloud is giving rain, then what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to give the protection. Please know your role, because according to your role, you will behave. One day when you become a father or mother, you will say, my role is that of a parent, and then you will take the responsibility. So today, engineers, young engineers, our role is to take the natural aspect of, we human beings are supposed to protect nature. Our role is that of protecting nature, give that to nature. Our vision is to create a holistic, sustainable model of river restoration. Eventually, there will be a people's movement which will form a Ram Nadi Sansad to decide about the river. Our mission is that Ram Nadi becomes a role model for river restoration. When you come to the river, these visions and missions will become more meaningful to you in the context of you coming to the river. If you come to the river by already having changed one behavior, stop buying the cleaning liquids which are chemical, buy the herbal liquids which are there. Come to the river and say that I have already started working for you, because she is your mother. So when you come there, you will already be part of the vision and already be part of the mission. Let us show our mother that we are already alert. Akalman ko ishara kafi hai. Even before you reach the Ram Nadi, you can start your vision and mission inside yourself, because that is the aim. It is not a piece of paper. This vision and mission should be inside us in action. This is the map of the river. She has been divided according to so many experts we have. You will love to meet them. They are all rishis. And then we have this division of the river. Actually, the river cannot be divided, but these are the tasks upon the river. So we have to study the sections separately, the plains section, the section which is near the confluence. And as we saw, there is an upper catchment area which comes right up to Bukum through Khattewadi Lake. All of that we have to understand. This is trying to understand the architecture. What do? We study the flow and the flood regime, the erosion and the deposition. What is the natural way of Ram Nadi and how we have disturbed that? Then the ecologically sensitive areas. What are the unique habitats? What is the riparian zone? Where are the springs? Where are the roosts for the different migratory birds or the native bird species which are there? So we have to study these habitats also, and we'll have to study the behavior of the original fish also. Then areas for plantation. Do we have to restore some plantation? What is the creation of habitat where the habitat has been destroyed? How are we going to conserve this river and bring her back to her the original health which is there? And what are the interventions? Where we'll have to identify appropriate authority, how we go according to the law and the constitution, how we never force ourselves. This is a very peaceful, wonderful movement where we will study very properly and gently serve our mother till she comes back to her original health. So we'll keep on making requests to housing societies, requests to each other, requests to the government, requests to the whole of human civilization that let us have a social engineering, a human-river relationship where there is water literacy, such as what we are speaking now, water orientation, water culture, and a river parliament. So there will be banks repaired. I'm not going into the details now. We have a time constraint here. Can I know how much time I have? About 7 to 10 minutes. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because we started a little late. So
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes.
about 10 minutes I will take. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
I'm actually setting a timer so that, yeah. So the bank repairs. So we will see there are new obstructions. There is construction, there is debris. Then there are bank walls are not natural at many places. People have pushed their societies into the river. And channelization should be avoided as far as possible. The river should remain as the river is, natural. And the loose stones may be fixed if we want to prevent bank erosion at the very vulnerable places. This is bank repairs. Then there is a meandering of the river. If someone has straightened the river, we should see the gentle methods by which the river can continue her, the snake-like walk by which she comes. So in that, there will be important areas for aquatic plantation and a list of plants will be made. I'll show some slides about how the plants are being studied, okay, how the trees are being studied. And the confluence region is very important. There are weekly and daily visits happening there. You can join us there. And how the river deposits the silt, what is a sandbar, how the islands get created, why they are necessary, how the river splits as she tries to join the Mula River. And those channels of the river keep changing to keep the nutrient, continuously under a flux. And what is the riparian vegetation? What is the original one? Where we have created invasive vegetation. All of this we will be guided by experts. So you see, all of you young engineers, boys and girls, children of Ram Nadi, daughters and sons of Ram Nadi, you will have to visit your mother. You have to visit with us. The whole point of this talk is just give an orientation from a distance so that you will visit with us. So there are constructions there. We should now take a look at how can we continue. Sustainable development means that the river should be sustained when we develop. We have to go a little slower, we have to go more scientific, and we have to go more ecological. So unique flora, fauna we'll identify springs, the riparian vegetation, special habitats, and document this. There will be photographs taken, the positioning will be there. There are absolutely wonderful documents created in which all this can be filled up, and the profile of every section of the river can be created to enrich our observation so that our task of conservation is defined for us step by step, what we should do first, then what we should do. And every step we take, you will see that nature comes 100 steps from her side. This is the ecological restoration program. Every step we take, she will come back 100 steps for us. And in that, we must protect the river. We must clean the river. We must do solid waste management right from the source, right from home to the banks of the river. Sewage management. We must do the plantations where they are needed. This includes also zero budget natural farming. And there will be a lot of manual work which we must do, because by doing manual work, we offer our sweat, we offer our breath. And the way the nature works for us, we work physically for nature also. It is very important to do manual work. And there are awareness drives, there are cleanliness drives, there are surveys and documentation. Ecological restoration program is all about creative engagement. Unless we can convince you to come to the river, that will be your first meeting with the river. If you have already been to the river, really wonderful, I salute you for that. But if you have already been to the river a few times as eco rangers, then increase the number of times you come there, please. By taking care of our river in all these ways, engaging ourselves in an ecological restoration program, where how we as individuals, how we as institutions will get engaged, how we as individuals will get engaged, how we will involve our family in that, how we will respond to the call given by Ram Nadi people. And then if they call us for a photography session, even if it is a competition, please take the opportunity to come there. You may see one of the rare birds, and when you photograph that rare bird, you will fall in love with the river. The more you visit the river, you will fall in love with her. So there are many, you see in this map, you will find dissolved oxygen testing goes on, Pashan Lake project is there, plastic waste management is there, involving of the eco rangers is there, the Khatpewadi project is going on, the Ramula confluence engagement, there are large number of people doing work over there. These types of, this doesn't exhaust the number of things we are doing. This is just to give you an idea that when you visit the river, you will find in the whole river basin, there are a lot of activities going on. As an example, Khatpewadi Lake, there is a community cleanup part of it. There is a study of the slopes, the islands which were there originally, and the walkways, the vegetation, the native fish, the desilting, and how it can be done scientific. And this particular lake, you can see that one of our partners, they created an entire time-space model. What should be done first? What should be done next? This you can study when you go there. And this is the desilting going on according to the scientific procedure. And 20% of the volume of this Khatpewadi lake was increased. I do not have the current photographs, but there are rafts which are floating on this. These rafts have types of plants on them, which students have created, and these rafts are, those plants are eating up the pollution which comes here, because the moment there is habitation around it, human habitation, some or the other pollution will come in. So there are rafts being created here, and you would like to participate in the Khatpewadi very special vision that this will be made into a lotus lake also. So please come here. The volume of the lake has already increased by 20%. And because of that, the recharging of water happens in the slope, which you see going towards the villages which are in front. I say villages, currently the urban buildings are coming up, but downstream up to Manas Lake, this is still village area. This is all Gram Panchayat area. And the water is coming up to higher levels in the wells over there. This is a Pashan Lake. And in Pashan Lake, there are some ecological interventions that we have to do. Please come there. There are some proposed plans happening. These are the interim drawings around which we sit in order to plan what to do with Pashan Lake. Because Khatpewadi Lake is the upper lake. After that is the Manas Lake, and after that comes the Pashan Lake. So these are different plans. I will not go into the detail. Please visit with us. Restoration works at the confluence. You will see that there is a light colored river going from left to right. That is the Mula river. And a dark colored river is shown coming from the bottom of this picture towards the river. And the river trifurcates into 3 channels and then joins Mula. So this small river which is shown is the Ram Nadi. So this is a picture of the Ram Nadi Mula confluence. This is another picture. If you see, the Mula river is a broader river where the red arrows are shown, the lateral red arrow. And the 2 channels are shown by the red arrows coming from the Ram Nadi. These are pictures of the confluence. So here you'll see that the water hyacinth is being mapped, the wetlands are being mapped, the built-up land is being mapped, the fallow land, the tree canopy, the road lanes, the springs, where is the Banar sewage treatment plant, where is the Banar waste treatment plant, where is the bat colony, where are the wells, all this is being mapped. If, my mother is 93, she was in hospital for 15 days, and we were mapping all her health over there. So when the Mula river is the mother of civilization in this part for 3.5 lakh people, we have to map her body. We have to map the river basin, and we have to map the flow of blood there. That means we have to map the river. This is, you will be, I am always amazed at this work going on over there. 2-3 large organizations who are with us. If you see, the first tree which is mapped here is Chinsa, Imli, and the number written is 28. Now, initially when I saw this, I could not imagine the trees are being individually counted and mapped. Now, do you see, as engineers, if in your building a single brick is weak, the building is under threat, So each of these trees is a brick within the complex ecology of the Mula river. So we have to take care of every brick. And we human beings are also now part of the Mula River Basin as the fauna over there. So we also will have to become very strong supporters of the Mula River. I'm going to go faster through this. There are various studies which are created. Okay. You join us and you will see what is happening on the ground, what is being done about it, how some people go even in the night to find out if anybody is dumping any waste into the river, and whatever are the activities going on, that the activities are within the safe norms. There is a very large attempt made by us to keep all the interventions into the river under the safety norms. There is plastic collection drives in many schools and in housing societies. And there is a mapping of the dissolved oxygen. You will see that at the origin, the dissolved oxygen is 7.5. That shows a healthy river. And the moment we come into the urban area, the dissolved oxygen drops to 0 and 1.5 and 3.5 and 1.5. You see, in the architecture of this river, the water is a supplier of oxygen. And if the oxygen level falls below 4, the fish die. सारे मछलियां मर जाती हैं. So in our river, we cannot afford for the fish to die. So we have to bring up this oxygen again to 8. So as engineers, you can be part, like this young man who's a college student is doing. You will learn how to test the dissolved oxygen and keep a watch on our river. She's our mother river, not feeling well now. There are the wells are also, most of the wells are full of rubbish. The rubbish is taken out, the springs are made free, and then the water fills up. So we can even revive wells in this whole region. So I'm in the last 2 now. We will be working with the people of the Ram Nadi, every family in the river basin. So children, we have to reach every family. How to plan that? You can plan with us. So NGOs and civil society organizations, we'll have to reach everyone who is in and around the Ram Nadi. And the corporate groups which are there, we are so thankful that I don't really call the Kirloskar group as a corporate group. It is a cultural group very much, which is a pillar like the Tata group, The Tata group and the Kirloskar group have always taught us that we have to live for civilization and not just for civil engineering. Civil engineering and civilizational engineering. So the corporates are there with us, and the government also to scale up our activity. We are continuously with the government on the Ram Nadi planning group. There are, I think, at least 7 members of the Ram Nadi mission are already part and parcel of the government planning group. So please get involved in these 4 steps for Ram Nadi. I'm ending with one more slide after this. Ram Nadi Darshan is when you give 2 hours to see our PowerPoint. I have summarized within 35 minutes according to my time. 35 minutes I've summarized for you. So you have a Ram Nadi Darshan from a distance. Now you have to do the Ram Nadi Parikrama. Please visit the Ram Nadi. If you have visited earlier, fine, you can visit again. Consider this as the first visit again. Okay. So come to the Ram Nadi, join again for 8 hours on one day, do your field study. After that, you can select some work to do. You can give 3 hours a week, or you can give 3 or 4 hours every month. We will see how you can work. You can find from our experts. And for the whole year, if your college can spare you for action on the river, then we will say that you have come into Ram Nadi Seva after the Ram Nadi Parikrama. And then like we fell in love with the river, when you fall in love with the river, even when you pass out, even when you are 30 years old, 40 years old, not only yourself, you will bring your family and your college and your institution and your corporate group to the Ram Nadi. Then we will say that you are a Ram Nadi Sadhak. You adopted Ram Nadi for life. And do you know why you have to do it? Because the Ram Nadi has adopted us now. When I say Ram Nadi, I talk about all the rivers. Do we adopt the river, or has the river adopted us to give us water? She gives the water free to us. So because the river has adopted human civilization, now that the river is not feeling well, we have to adopt her in her old age, and we have to renovate her till she becomes young again. Now, which will be the civilization which lives near the young and rejuvenated and clean Ram Nadi? Children, you look at your future generation. You are going to find your life partners. You are going to have children. Now go to the Ram Nadi as soon as possible, not only for us, not only for you, but for your future generation. Make sure that the Ram Nadi will be like a young mother for that generation, and she will give fresh water to those children. So you are also engineers who are building a bridge between our generation and your future generation. Children, you are the bridge in the middle. And I'm thankful that I could speak to engineers today. So these are many of the types of activities which are there. I'm not going to go into detail. There might be terrace gardening, there might be biodiversity survey, DO testing, street plays, rainwater harvesting. There are 40 activities which will be, I think there will be another presentation to tell you the 40 activities. Usually it is given by Anil Gaikwadji, who is also my mentor in this. Here we are on the last slide. Initially, there is Jala Saksharta, water literacy, knowing about the water. Then there is a Jala Sanskar. This is water orientation. You will find some daily action in service of the water. I'm still suggesting to you, please change over to herbal cleaners and stop using the chemical cleaners. Let that be your daily action in service to the water. 20-30% of the pollution of the river will stop if people stop using these chemical cleaners at home, you know. So let there be a Jala Sanskar in you from today. When all the family comes into Jala Sanskar, it is called as a water culture, has reached the family, and the family will teach the children without any need for PowerPoint to be given by expert like us. So when the Jala Sanskriti happens in Ram Nadi, the families are going to teach the future generation. No need for an NGO when the Jala Sanskriti happens. So then that will be a water civilization. We will give back to the river as much as we take from the river. And a water constitution is formed for the future generations. And then there is a river parliament of people like us who over the next 3, 5, 7, 10, let us make a step-by-step commitment that first visit immediately within 15 days or 1 month to the Ram Nadi. Please commit to yourself that you will go after your teachers and say whether there is holidays or not. Sir, ma'am, we want to reach our river and we want to find out all these details and we want to get engaged with our river because we are young engineers of the modern age who think globally and we will act personally. We will be the change that we want to see. Thank you so much for this time. There is a Hindi line which I have written here. Har ek boond pani हर इंसान की सेवा में हाजिर है. Every drop of water will be ready to quench our thirst. हर एक इंसान हर बूंद पानी की सेवा में हाजिर होना अभी बाकी है. We have to become ready to serve every drop of water. Thank you so much. I'm coming out of the sharing. I tried to complete in the time. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for orienting us about importance of Ram Nadi, its life forms, life energy, and ecosystem, as well as its today's state, and also the restoration plan of Ram Nadi. Thank you, Chitrao, sir, also for orienting us related with the Kirloskar Vasundhara. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I tried to keep it within the time. I think 30-35 minutes was fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir, it was within the time.
Thank you
so much.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chitraji. And thank you all the young engineers here. Have we concluded now?
Yes, sir, we conclude this session. Yes, sir. Thank you.